Nobody, no crime. Well, not on my time. Eyes are watching, giving victims a voice. Raise your voice from Delphi to Camden, and there will be no more botching. We might not be Dateline, but come along if you want a great time. Grab yourself a glass of wine, and let's talk some true crime. And hey, you'll even have an alibi if you collect evidence in red Solo cups. If your expert says it just did, you might have a problem. We might not be Dateline, but come along if you want a great time. Grab yourself a glass of wine, and let's talk some true crime. And hey, you'll even have an alibi.
Hello, hello. How is everyone? 1 second. Let me just make sure that the volume is not going to interfere here. Hello, hello. Oh, yep. Okay. 1 second. Bear with me. I have to I hear something in the other room that is going to bug me, and I can hear it through on this. 1 second, guys, and I will be right back. My apologies. We'll give a second for a few more people to join us. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. All right. How is everyone doing tonight? I just was on with the amazing Mazza at Mazza Media for a Kelsey Fitzsimmons fundraiser. And I was already at my computer, so I figured I would just try to do a quick live while I'm here. Talking about my time in Georgia. I went up to go kind of show my support for the Faust trial, which is going on right now, which I know a lot of you have been watching Melanie Little's amazing coverage on this trial, and so have I. So I see some of you here. Hi, Sue. Yes. Hi, Kathy. Sue. Yes. I was one of the 4 cupcakes that was there. I got to meet 3 other amazing cupcakes that were in the courtroom and had been most of the week. They are also like very, very dedicated to this trial and feel some type of way. And it was amazing to be able to meet them. I sent Melanie my name, and I kind of thought when I got there, I kind of thought one of them was probably a cupcake. And a few minutes later, she was like, "Are you Lauren?" And I was like, "Yeah." So she scooted over, and then she's like, "Are you a cupcake?" And I was like, "I am." And so she started laughing, and then apparently she had asked someone earlier in the week if they were a cupcake, and the person was like, "A what?" "No, what do you mean?" And so she was like, "I was a little nervous to ask you if you were," but I was like, "Yes, I am." So it was pretty great. I guess I'll just start when I got there. When I got there, I pulled up and there was maybe, hey, B Crumbs, hey, Cat. Yes, when I got there, there was maybe about 5 or 6 protesters, so with some signs, which was awesome to see. Um, I know, I think it was Melanie said, like, it would be great if we could get some protesters out there. So that was awesome to see. So of course I rolled my window down and was like, "Free Edwick." And so they were like, "Yay." So that was kind of fun to be greeted by, already having, seen some support out there for him. And then I parked in the parking garage right next to the courthouse and immediately saw like a bunch of security guards just like walking the perimeter of the parking garage, which kind of odd, especially for a small town. I'm from Georgia, for those of you who don't know. Um, Grew up in Georgia, not that part of Georgia, but um it was just strange, like, for a small town that they would have that many security people. And then when I got out of my car, walked up towards the courthouse, there was more security people, and there wasn't a bunch of people there or anything. So, it was just kind of odd. Um, and so I went into the courthouse, kinda not knowing where I was going, found the courthouse or the courtroom. There was probably about 4 people outside waiting. And when I met the other cupcake, she kinda said, "Yep, they've been holding us out here until the jury arrives." So, the one of the members of the jury came, checked in, but I had heard the bailiff say something like, "They're not getting here till 10:30." So, I guess he was a little early. And, so during that time, we just kinda chatted. I got to know some other people who ended up being, 2 lovely ladies who were in law school. And one of them, her boyfriend is the law clerk for Mr. Cruz. And she kind of was telling me without telling me that he had been working on the case for about 2 years. And I wasn't sure which side at first when she was talking about it. So finally I was like, "Oh, okay. Was this for the defense or the prosecution?" And she's like, "Defense." I was like, "Awesome. That's who I'm here for." Like, so they were lovely, lovely ladies. Um, and about that time, there was more people. The family had come in from protesting. Um, and yeah, so then they basically told us to line up. Um, we did, and then we got a huge spiel from the bailiffs. And I get it, totally get it. You have to, hi Miss Jess. Um, Hi Stacy. Oh, watching from the UK. Welcome. My good friend is from the UK, so hello to you. So um we kind of got the spiel of, hey, behave, which absolutely. But then we got the spiel of, this is Judge Lisa Lott's courtroom, and we are here to do exactly what Judge Lisa Lott wants us to do. And I'm here to enforce that. And there will be no funny business. And it was very, very stern. Um, so everyone knew to kind of be on their best behavior, but Judge Lott's name was mentioned a lot in that little spiel. Everyone had to turn off their phones or put them on silent. If you were seen with them, you were removed. All this is very normal for a courtroom. So, anyways, we were finally allowed to go in. Um, we went in and completely filled up the entire defense side of the courtroom, which felt amazing. I don't know exactly how it had been since I hadn't been there all week, but I was told from family and then the other cupcakes who had been there that it hadn't been that full. This was definitely the most full day that they were, had seen yet. And so we were just kind of waiting. There had been motions that were going on before they allowed us in the courtroom that we weren't able to see. I don't there was some weird stuff, like things happening in the courtroom without anyone, going in until later on. So we had missed a lot of the kind of talking back and forth, and I had to catch up on it later on Melanie's on the way home. But we heard that the defense was going to rest after they had tried to get in a bunch of things that it sounded like the DA and the judge wasn't going to let them talk about. Shocking, right? So they Yes, Stacy, free Edric Faust, absolutely. Um, and so yeah, we were like, okay, you know. So they brought the jury back in to tell them that they had rested and to come back at 2:30. It was going to be a longer lunch. So me and the three other cupcakes went to have some lunch. So we were able to go have some lunch next to the courthouse and kind of get to know each other, talk about the case and kind of what we had thought and what they had observed, that kind of thing. We made an awesome waitress that was adorable, who we informed of the trial. She had no clue that it was going on. Um, and we saw Ashley PV Hall. She was there at the place eating as well. Um, and I will say earlier that day, sorry, I don't know why this is on my glasses so much. It's driving me nuts, probably not bothering anyone else, but um, earlier in the day, Chris Milton's mom was there. So that was interesting. She didn't come back um after we kind of reconvened for lunch. I didn't see her again. But both of Tara's roommates were there, with Ashley being one of them. And then of course the family, which it's always terrible. Your heart breaks for them no matter who's on trial, your heart breaks for the family. Um, so that was very, very sad to see, and you just your heart goes out to them. Um, I was able to meet some of Edwick's family, who are very kind, and very, very appreciative that I was just coming up there to show support. Um, and you could tell they've been here from the very beginning and feel a certain type of way about their relative being charged for something that they feel he did not do. And it was nice that they were able to see and hear support from the community, other communities, other states. You could tell that they very much appreciated that. So, when you're in a courtroom, especially, you're kind of under a microscope a little bit, having heard the judge and things. And I will say I am not media, so I do not take any of the stuff um, that the judge said in any kind. I was there as a civilian. I was there as a former Georgia resident, someone who grew up in Georgia, and a concerned citizen. So I was there on no capacity of anything other than that, a citizen who wanted to see an open trial. So, with that being said, you still had to be on your best behavior, because this judge is tends to be a little bit not wanting things to be seen. Um, I am a type of person who watches and I observe a lot. So I was observing everything. Um, Liz, Detective Liz, was there. She came there. She definitely had a presence in the courtroom. She was obviously sitting with the defense or the prosecution team, which is definitely normal. Um, However, that was interesting because when he got up to eventually give his closing argument, she sat in his chair, um, and was doing like the PowerPoints, if you will. But I guess starting back from when we came in from after lunch, it was even more full. Even some people who were there for Edwick had to sit on the prosecution side. Now, they had quite a few people there for closing arguments as well, but definitely Edwick's side was the packed house and the place to be, I would say. Um, so we heard closing arguments. I think Mr. Cruz did a fantastic job. There was a few special things that he said that really touched me, and one of those was being that the DA and all of that didn't expect people to care about Mr. Faust. They didn't expect people to care about the story, and they didn't expect people to show up and support him. And I felt that, and I think all of the cupcakes that were, all kind of around me, like, we all felt that. And his family no doubt felt that. So, it was a very, very, very touching and moving, but yet, like, common sense, you know, l closing arguments. I just thought he did a fantastic job. Um, before he got up though, Mr. Chili, I don't remember the first part of his name, and the only thing that sticks in my head is Llama Llama Ding Dong. So I don't want to call him that to be disrespectful all the time. So I'll try to like say his name, but the Chili guy, the DA, he got up, said a few words. I guess they get to speak first. So he did that. And then he said something kind of outrageous, which was the fact that so when Mr. Cruz gets up here and tries to tell you that, you know, Chris Milton's hair was in the hands, and then he's surprised that it's not in the hands, and he, you know, now he can't take that back, and he's trying to say that. So Mr. Cruz stands up and is like, objection. I never said that. I said Caucasian hairs. Obviously, tensions are high. You know, Edwick's family is there in the courtroom, and they know he didn't commit this murder. They know he's an innocent man, and so there was a bit of a an outburst. Not, I wouldn't say outburst. I mean, yes, it was audible. They were like, that was not what he said. Like, and they said it out loud. And so then the judge had to admonish the courtroom. These things happen. These things happen. I don't know honestly why they don't happen more, because if it was my family, I would have it would be hard. It would be really, really hard. So she admonished the courtroom, and I think she tried to kind of stop herself. She was going to say some more things, and then she thought better of it. Anyways, he was exactly right. That was never stated ever. It was exactly that there were Caucasian hairs in Tara's hands. And so that was just kind of, it set the tone. Like, again, it was, I observed the defense DA, it's very personal, very personal. And I found out later why I believe it was personal. Stay tuned, because I'll tell you. But it is very obvious to me, in my opinion, all of these things that I say are my opinion, that Mr. Cruz is very much under Chili's skin. And yeah, so that kind of set the tone. I was like already like sitting there respectfully, but like pissed off, like, don't misstate what he said. Like, that didn't happen, you know? So I was like, okay, this is how it's gonna go. So then, you know, Mr. Cruz gets up, gives a fantastic closing argument. Good. Okay, yeah, everyone was riveted. Yeah, it was great. It was fantastic. Just the right amount of time. Also, I don't know if they showed this or not, just a little insight. Mr. Cruz, was arguing that in the state of Georgia, anything that is either is a capital case or could be a capital case. So like any murder case where they could seek the death penalty, you automatically, if you want it, get 2 hours for closing. The DA said that was not exactly the law, blah, 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 and they didn't. Hi, Maza. Hi, Maza, welcome. They didn't, you know, that wasn't how it was, and this wasn't a death penalty case, so therefore he shouldn't get the 2 hours, like, it really matters. Then Lisa Lott, shockingly, agrees, "Well, I don't think that that is exactly the law," and blah, blah, "I will have to go back and look," and Mr. Cruz was like, "You know, look, I know this doesn't hold weight, but I have tried many, many, many murder cases here, and in every single murder case, I get 2 hours because it could be a death penalty case. Anything." He repeated, he's like, "I know that doesn't hold any weight, but for your honor's consideration." And he's so kind and he's so respectful. So she's like, "Oh, we'll go back and look." So anyways, I don't know ultimately what I didn't hear it. It wasn't on record. It was at the bench. So I don't know what it came down to. And I didn't have like a stopwatch watching, and you're not allowed to look at your phone. So I would say he had close to about 2 hours. I don't think he went the full 2 hours, but, so that was gonna be kind of, wow, I wonder if, you know, she's gonna let him. So anyways, yeah, in my opinion, it was a perfect amount of time for a closing argument. And yes, so I just really enjoyed it. Everyone was very engaged. All the jurors were engaged. All the jurors were engaged with both parties. Like, that's what I will tell you. There's one person that stands out that is probably why the judge says the facial expression comment. That person does make facial expressions. However, she does it to both sides. So I don't think that there's anything that can be really read from that too much. Everyone was paying attention. People were jotting down notes here and there. And it was from the very beginning when the prosecutor got up there to the defense's closing. Everyone was very, very engaged, paying attention, and you could tell they were thinking when questions were asked to them. That's what you want in a jury, right? You want them engaged, you want them zoned in. So the jury, from what I could tell, is exactly what you'd want in a jury. And then I just didn't know after Mr. Cruz's closing what really they could say that was gonna like really be like shocking, like, oh, that was a great point. And I was waiting. And some of the stuff that he was saying was starting to irritate me. So then I just had to get out like my notebook and take notes, basically everything that he was saying, like I was writing why it wouldn't make sense. And some of the things I can read them to you if you want to, but like some of the things, their story of the case is that she was stabbed first, right? And from behind. All of these things they didn't show proof of, in my opinion. But for whatever reason, they're saying that the stab to the jugular happened first, right? So here's the problem with that. When you're stabbed in the jugular, you're going to bleed out rather quickly, okay? And you're not going to be able to do a lot of the things. That doesn't make sense to me that would have happened, in my opinion. However, the assailant would have had blood everywhere if that was the case. Nobody running from the scene, black, white, whatever, was said to have had blood on them. So that doesn't fit with anyone's theory of anything, because surely if they noticed what color shirt he was wearing, like an orange one, might have noticed the blood staining everywhere, which you are going to have if you stab someone in the jugular first and your heart is beating. So again, then he said that he didn't bring a knife with him and anything to clean up, like someone would have who had planned for days. Okay. So you mean to tell me someone off the street would have come in and just known that all these things would have been there available to them, and then they thought last minute, better clean up. Again, doesn't make sense. Again, going with the defense's theory and just common sense that this was something personal. Like, you don't go into some home, you don't randomly find yourself in a home and kill someone by 4 different methods of it just doesn't happen. This was a crime where the person knew someone that they murdered or red rum, sorry. So anyways, um and then they repeated things. They just kept repeating things that the DA's witnesses went over, like their investigators, that they had obviously prepped them. And these were key kind of phrases like, "Oh, I don't remember all of the who won the World Series because I was on a murder trial," and da 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 da. Just things that were very staged and um kind of on purpose. He just kept repeating them like, "Oh, I smelt shampoo. I smelt shampoo," which I don't, whatever, maybe, but I've also smelt home fires, and the smell of a home fire, you're not going to be focused on something like shampoo. Like, it is a horrible smell when your home has been taken by fire. That I doubt that is my opinion, but mine alone, regardless. And then he was saying that Chris's hair was on the body because there were just so many there, like so many there at the home, because he was somebody that was regularly there. Okay. Well, she took a shower that morning like she did every morning, and there was a pubic hair on her butt. That doesn't make sense. Like, again, they have nothing to defute all of, or to argue the points that the defense is making. They don't have anything. Um, and he was saying it was common for Tara to have her hair in her hands, because she was hit in the head. I was like, "Okay." And then that was after she was stabbed in the jugular. So, apparently she was grasping at her hair because she was hit in the head after being stabbed. Again, one would wonder why and how would she have the capacity to be doing all that after she had lost so much blood? Um, their story is very interesting on so many different levels. And then one of my favorite points, what I wanted to just like, and I was looking at the jury like, are they gonna laugh? Because it was laughable in my opinion. He went on to say, "Oh, Mr. Cruz," everything was about Mr. Cruz. It was very personal, like, it was attack on Mr. Cruz. Um, how dare him, like, be defending his client and actually doing his job. So then he's just like, "Yeah, he told you all, like, this whole, like, 2 weeks that she'd have hair from grabbing at him, from strangling her, blah, 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 blah." And then he's like, "And then what do we find out? That the cord was around her neck, and in order to hold that cord, it wouldn't be from the front. It was at the sides." And I'm like, "And? So you mean to tell me she couldn't have been clawing at him because his hands were here instead of here? Like, are you listening to yourself? Like, stop. You sound ridiculous." So yes, there's a huge difference. Apparently, she can't claw at someone if their hands are like 2 inches further over to the sides. Ridiculous. Um, and then then he said it was Mr. Cruz's job to walk his client out of the door. Um, I thought that was such a snide, dirty comment. Like, "Oh, it's his job to come up here and say whatever he can just to get him to walk out the door." Again, sir, you work at the DA. You are supposed to respect the judicial system. Without defense attorneys, our judicial system does not work. So shame on you for saying something like that. That is disgusting. Um, yes. Yeah, exactly. I mean, everyone was and that's another I will get into that as well. Yeah. That yes, they do need another DA, and what's scary is that he just got there. So, that's terrifying. Um, the way he acted was the most obvious way she would have been yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter if the hands are here or here. Like, girl's gonna be clawing, trying to get the thing around her neck away from her neck. Like, it was just I don't know. I don't know how he thought that was a good argument, but it was ridiculous. And then, uh, let's see, let me read my notes here. Um Yeah, and I just think that he hammered home the point, Mr. Cruz, that there was no sperm. That was some kind of sneaky thing that they were trying to, like, get in there without saying that there was no sperm, that, "Well, his DNA is in her," whatever. Yeah, it's not sperm. So, you wanna tell me what it is? Because it doesn't make sense. Like, that doesn't make sense. And then then I just jotted down, like, their whole closing was trying to build up Chris's credibility, and, then they said that Tara's family might not want oh, yeah, this is a point interesting for those of you who watched the closing. I thought this was just a very big blunder, by Llama Llama Ding Dong. He said that Tara's first of all, his voice drives me nuts. Like, are we a California dude or are we a Georgia country bumpkin? He can't decide, so he does both. So I will refrain from doing my imitation because you're welcome. But anyways, his voice drives me nuts, and he was like, "Sure, Tara's family, like, might not be super excited that she's with someone who doesn't have a law degree, but, like, was that gonna be the person she was with for 40 years and them die in bed together?" First of all, that wasn't said anywhere in the trial. So why would you, as the prosecutor, be bringing up the fact that another reason why Tara might break up with him was because that her family wasn't happy because he didn't have a law degree. I just thought that was such a blunder on his part. Like, who would say that? That's just giving the jury something else to kind of linger over. Oh, that's probably another reason why she was on the outs with him. Um, so I thought that was kind of poorly decided by him. Then the whole thing of I didn't want to see the damage I caused. I would love y'all's in the chats your opinion of that. I want to go back and re-listen to that. I have not had a chance. I just got in this morning. So for those of you who heard that, picked up on it, tell me your thoughts. Yes, Chris was a plumber. Which nothing against plumbers. I mean, they can make good money, but okay, Stacy says she heard it. Um, Sue, yes. Oh my gosh, yes. Um, and then a lot of you think that he's been setting up on AJ, which wouldn't surprise me. You know, he's a good attorney, and you're gonna surround yourself by other good attorneys, and you know, why not? And then okay, Melanie showed it for us in the regular speed, and it sounded like he said I. Yeah, you know what's it's so funny is that people often slip up. That's why I'm such a fan of body language because you can control what you say sometimes, but your body language you can't control. You have no control over it. But sometimes people slip up with what they say. And so I remember questioning it, but I didn't go back and check then and I haven't had time since I got back, but I definitely want to keep Freudian slip. Exactly, Stacey. I definitely want to go back and listen to it over and over. Um, oh, Veda's coming up here to say hi. Okay. Let's see. All right. I showed it. Almost the number of times he said the damage I caused. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't doubt it one bit. Did you guys notice? This is just a side note. Did you guys notice when he was on the stand? And I don't remember if it was Lama Lama Ding Dong or Mr. Cruz asked him, was there damage to the wall when he was saying he was punching it? He was like almost like he got irritated that he would even ask if there was damage to the wall. Like, obviously, there was damage to the wall. I was punching it. He got like irritated, like annoyed that he would even think that there wasn't damage to the wall. I feel like that was like a little insight to him. Like he really thinks he's like something. Like he really thinks he's this strong guy. I don't know. It was just something I picked up on. Ultimately has nothing to do with anything, but well, sometimes my mind goes to different things while we're talking. So then he said, and also I don't know if it was as obvious like on camera or anyone kind of said anything. And obviously I haven't been able to go back to watch Melanie's stream. Did you guys notice Llama Llama Ding Dong getting very emotional, like almost faking that he was going to cry? And look, I don't know. Maybe he was. I don't know. Prosecutors can take things very personal. However, for me, it appeared like almost like he was about to fake cry while like longingly looking over and glancing at the family. Did anyone notice that? Because in the courtroom, to me, that was very obvious. And I just thought like very interesting. And then like that, he was not about to cry. Yeah, Stacy saying yes, he must have taken lessons from Chris. Yeah. Let's see here. Okay, what vibe did you get about the Melton family? Are they rich, powerful, or something? I don't know. I did hear a few things which I'll get into in a little bit. I only saw Chris's mom. I think his dad has passed. She was there early in the morning and didn't return after the long lunch. Chris was not there. I have heard that he was at one day. I don't know if it was right before his testimony. So I was interested to see if he was going to come for closings. He was not there. I don't know anything for sure about his family, but I will tell you what I've heard in a little bit. Yes, Mama Claire saying she felt like he was feigning emotion. I definitely felt that way. A lot of people like I wasn't paying attention. I don't blame you. You didn't miss anything. Almost like Hank. Yes, yes, yes. Very good comparison. Yep. And he was like staring over at the family, like making a statement in front of the juror in my mind. Um, then let's see. Okay, so they said now remind you, like, Cruz had already said multiple times this was somebody who knew Tara, right? It wasn't someone who came in off the street and decided to red rum her in like 4 different manners and all of that. Um, so then the DA gets up there and says that the FBI and GBI knew who it was before they even arrested him. Okay, talking about Faust. Because they thought that maybe they had missed something. They were trying to build a connection between Faust and Tara. Well, why were the GBI and FBI trying to build a connection between Faust and Tara? Well, it's for the exact reason that Mr. Cruz got up there and told you. They knew that this wasn't a crime that was committed by a random person in the neighborhood or a random person who just happened to get real lucky that this lady was here alone. It was because they knew that this crime was perpetrated by someone she knew. It was personal. So I just thought that was a huge blunder. Like, I'm hoping that the jury is picking up on some of these things, because that just perpetuated exactly what Mr. Cruz had just gotten up there and said. Let's see here. Yes, Chris was getting irritated with Cruz, like apparent anger issues. Yeah, a lot of you guys were saying that they could tell like he was so angry. I thought that was interesting because people hold like their anger in different ways, right? And so especially him admitting on the stand that he holds that anger in, I thought he did himself no favors with admitting that, and then seeing it because obviously some of you guys saw it and felt the same way, and I think that was a strategic move, just an absolute masterclass at Cross by Mr. Cruz, just going in on him like he did. It was fantastic, and I don't know about y'all, but when he said, "Where are the tears?" Well, you were crying, but where are the tears? I was like, "Yes." 'Cause this is the things we've all wanted to say before to witnesses on the stand, and, like, attorneys don't necessarily always say it, so I was, like, loving every moment of it. Um, yes, let's see, the callousness of him saying, "Liz, girl." Okay, no, exactly, like and even if that was what she told you to call her back then, you're on trial. You don't see how maybe that's, like, really, like, not professional and doesn't like, this man is yeah. That was ridiculous. Yes, let's see here. Also, people don't do boxing moves on the wall with both hands. Absolutely. Let me tell you a story about that. Like, so my ex-husband, bad temper, he punched a wall, like a concrete wall. And immediately his first of all, he didn't have cuts on it. Okay. He had what is called by the doctor as a boxing fracture, and he fractured the hand in his the bone in his hand, and it was bruised and swollen. No cuts, and it was just interesting. It's like come on, this guy would have had a fracture had he done this to any kind of wall with substance to it, and he would have had bruising and swelling, which Chris didn't have. Chris just had cuts. He had scratches. So, just again, just ridiculous. No one is believing that. Um, Cruz is the man. Yes, he is. Let's see here. He did not, and that was another problem. He seems so entitled. Yes, like like he's an 80s villain. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. Like he was entitled. I feel like they who puts up someone in a hotel room that, like, isn't a family member to something like that? Like, that's just weird, and also, if he was so close to these people, why couldn't they stay at someone he knew, one of their houses? Like, the whole thing was odd. Um, and then Mama Claire saying, when Mr. Chili was talking about the scientific evidence, all, that was running through my head was The Dater. Is that a movie? If so, tell me. I need to know. Um, So, okay, so then he said that. So then there were just so many attacks, like, on Mr. Cruz, like, it was so personal. Um, and then I just he says, like, "It's Chris Melton could not have possibly committed the crime." Really, why? Because all I've seen is how he could've. Like, you just because you say that doesn't mean anyone believes it. And then he can't explain his DNA without admitting that he committed, um, this crime, is what he was saying about Mr. Faust. Yeah, actually he can, and Mr. Cruz has explained why. Like, "You guys are the ones who decided whose DNA was a crime to be there, and you chose the black guy, okay?" So, it was gross. Again, these were things I was having to jot down and then, like, argue as to why, because I was having to not make facial expressions. Let's see. Oh, yeah, and then yeah, I don't even know. That guy in the video where they replayed Faust's, interview with the police and him saying he could, like, exonerate himself and just things in my head, like, "You need to exonerate yourself from wearing that shirt." Like, what investigator goes in there with, like, a Hawaiian luau shirt? Like, the whole thing was just so the way that they investigated or didn't investigate this thing was just like a clown show. In my opinion, they basically made Chris Milton or Melton, say say the date that they wanted him to say. He didn't wanna say that date. He was sticking to his story. And just like you can have false confessions because of police influence, in my opinion, that was a false admission or change in your story because they pretty much forced him to do it. I mean, they asked him how many times. Well, we need you to have this so that we can. I mean, that is so inappropriate. And for the judge to limit anything that they could say, that they could ask these people, on the defense's case is disgusting. Like, they're just not wanting Mr. Cruz to put on a defense for his client. Um, so it just disgusts me, like, on so many levels. Let's see. So, was Edward's DNA planted? How the hell did he get there? And that is the question, Coco. Um I am not a huge conspiracy person. I just am not. However, with the stuff that I've seen in the last couple years, I cannot put it past the possibility that it is a possibility because like I said, it's not sperm, so it's not like he was in there for a reason. I mean, it doesn't make sense. It really just doesn't make sense. Um And they did get his DNA. They had I mean, he was in the system for other petty crimes. I mean, it is possible. And, I think that's up for each individual person to kind of think on and feel a certain way. Stacy bringing out, like, Richard Allen, absolutely. It's my personal belief that things were planted in the Richard Allen case. And again, like, as an investigator, like, this it makes me sick to, like, admit that kinda stuff, but it happens. And it happens, like, more regularly than I would like to admit, and it shouldn't be that way. So yeah, that is definitely an option. Yep, definitely things like that in Massachusetts. Buzz Cat saying that she believes it was planted as well. B. Crumb saying she hates conspiracies. Melanie says it's junk science, and absolutely could be junk science too. Again, like the whole thing with the mitochondrial DNA. Um, so like mitochondrial DNA is usually like to show you're related to someone. So like, why would the DNA match Ashley and Chris? So that doesn't make sense either, and that doesn't have anything to do with a crime. But that also didn't make sense. So it absolutely can just be that DNA, which is why it's not allowed in a lot of courtrooms because it's not an absolute science. Yeah, B. Crumb saying she looks at everything differently now, which I agree. And you'd be silly not to after, the stuff that we have unfortunately seen. Um, yeah, so anyways, it was interesting. I can tell you that when Mr. Cruz was up there giving his closing, Liz is sitting right behind the DA's table, and she is laughing, like making visible faces, shifting in her chair, like rolling her eyes, like visibly doing this, like so much that a lot of the jurors were looking over at her. I don't know what they were thinking when they were looking over at her, but she was rolling her eyes, laughing. I mean, it was just she could not take the heat. And I'm so sorry, but you deserve the heat. Whether you agree with it or not, your procedures weren't how they should have been. So you're gonna get the heat. And she could not take it. Rolling her eyes, laughing. It was very, very inappropriate and not professional, in my opinion, especially for court, especially right in front of the jurors. Again, my opinion. Um, she also looked very tired that day. And then she would immediately after that would go up to the family as if to, like, check in with them, like they're not irritated at her kinda thing. I don't know, that was the vibe I'm getting. But I would wish the camera would have been able to kinda show her reaction because she's not too far behind the defense team. Yeah, and you're absolutely right. Yes, the judge should have admonished her for that. Also on the, DA side, there is a podcaster. I don't know anything about him, never listened to his podcast, but apparently he did a whole lot about this case, had like a bunch of videos on why Chris Melton is a vile suspect, and then all of a sudden became friends with them or something like that. That's the story. And then those episodes are gone. Well, he also was like this the whole time that like the DA would try to like make any points. Again, that stuff shouldn't be happening. If it was going on the defense side, the judge would have said something. This guy who's not even involved in the case is doing it. So, I mean, again, yes, the judge should have done a lot of things. Let's see here. Uh, right. Yes. Talking about if the condom was used, because that was something that crossed my mind as well. There was no pubes, there was nothing, but there was Chris pubes. Um, and I just don't see how you get around. This was a brutal, brutal crime. There is going to be DNA of some sort, whether it be a hair, sperm, something left behind. And there just wasn't. There was only Caucasian hairs, and I don't think that can be stated enough. Uh There just wasn't, and it just seems as though they wanted to bring in a black guy and frame a black guy because, well, that would take everything away from Chris, and, well, 2 people saw black guys in the neighborhood. Well, someone saw a white guy in the neighborhood too. It just seems very much like how it is, in my opinion. Um, yes, okay. And then I was glad that they finally pointed out which direction the Walmart was at because that was the direction that people had seen people walking. Makes sense. You're gonna be walking towards something. Clearly, if the Walmart's close, people are gonna walk. Happens in every city. Yep, there's just so many issues I see, and it's dependent on the black guy. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I thought Mr. Cruz did such an amazing job at saying that, but not overstating it. Like, not making their whole case about that, but insinuating it a few times, you know what I mean? But not over the top. Like, there was still so much evidence that pointed that it wasn't him but he got it in there, and I just thought it was just such a master class at how to do that. I have so much respect for that man. My head was hurting from watching him like hit his head up against a brick wall every single time he was trying to get something in. Something in that it shouldn't be an issue to get in. That the way that the judge handled him was disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. For her to talk down to him the way she did. For her to talk to him like he had not been to law school and didn't understand any of the laws. Ma'am, he passed the same board that you did. I mean, it was infuriating, like, and all just because, she's on a power trip, um, and it was so inappropriate on so many levels, and it outraged me. I mean, yes, I believe that this man should be acquitted, but, like, half the reason I wanted to go up there was because I was so pissed off at what they were not allowing the defense to bring in. Like, if we that situation, that could have happened to anyone too, and I think that's why we all, like, engage with certain cases the way that we do is, like, we feel like, "Hey, this could have been us, Karen, Kelsey, this is another one." And then to now have the DA and the judge not allowing a defense attorney to give you a defense, or the defense that is just plain right. Like, there's multiple people that they considered for this crime. They're not even allowed to mention those other people. That outraged me so much that I'm like, "No, I'm going up there." Like, I'm going to see, I'm going to go in court and I'm gonna support because this is so wrong. Um, and yeah, I don't know. I have so much respect for him. I don't know how he stays so polite and respectful. God bless him, because I don't think I could have, and he just does it with such class and grace. Um, and yeah, Buzzy Cat saying it's happening everywhere. It really is happening everywhere. It is very, very scary. Let's see. I swore Joe's gonna be fine with him, and then yeah. Yeah, no, it is very much like communist Russia. Yeah. It's sad to think, and then this is only like an hour away from Atlanta. It's so sad to think that this is happening. I mean, I know we see it in smaller towns, but like this is so close to a big city, like it's just it's everywhere. It really is everywhere. And yeah, so here Mama Claire saying she's more anxious for this verdict than Karen's. Yeah, I am too. Um, I am too. Here Lexi the law nerd saying, "Amen. I surely wouldn't have been able to keep my composure." Me either. I mean, he deserves the medal. He really does. And so so yeah, so Liz was all flailing around making a big scene for everyone, which was interesting. I will tell you that Mr. Foss's family and friends and supporters, they were all so kind. I spoke to so many different people, and just they were appreciative that people were there. Um, and I got so many hugs, just like just hugs out of nowhere. Like after the closing argument, I went up to his cousin and just said he did a great job, and she just grabbed me and hugged me. Yes, he did. I mean, just very sweet, kind people that really appreciated the support, and that like people are watching, because this trial hadn't gotten a lot of coverage before Melanie put the spotlight on it, and she really did shine the spotlight on this. So, um, and all the other cupcakes that were there had already told them all about Melanie and, why they were there. So, like, it was really great, and I hate to make it about race, but at this point, I feel like that is really kind of what it's been turned into by the DA and charging this man. But it was good. I feel good to be a white person there. Like, no, I'm not here because of race. I'm here because what you're doing is wrong. And it doesn't matter what race you're trying to portray this man as a red rummer, and it doesn't fit with the evidence. And so I think that was something that so I'll get into a little bit. So like Liz, for instance, Liz was always looking back at the gallery. And I think for like I got like looks from her. And I think she thought maybe I was with the law clerks because they were two white girls um that I had made friends with or whatever. And then she saw me engaging with the family, talking, hugging the family, and you should have seen the look on her face. Um and it that to me spoke volumes because like I don't know what she thought it was there for, but it was to give support, and I just don't think she thought that that was necessarily what I was there for. Um, there's just so much wrong, I feel like, with what's going on here, and yeah, it's crazy, but what I did hear from one of the friends is that they there in Athens, Clarke County are pissed that, again, I don't know this for a fact, this is what I was told from a friend, that they are very pissed that Mr. Cruz took this case because he could not get an attorney up there to take his case. Because I guess a lot of people thought, "Well, I don't wanna touch this one, like, don't wanna go against people here, and this is such a big case," I guess for political reasons or whatever. So he didn't have an attorney for a long while, and I still don't know, I still haven't been able to ask, and when I met Mr. Cruz, there's only so many things, and I don't wanna be too personal, but I don't know if Mr. Cruz took this on pro bono. I don't know if there was a GoFundMe and his legal fees have been paid for, but what I understand from Melanie and from the Cupcakes who had asked something about a GoFundMe that his defense fund is paid for. So I don't know the details into that, but thankfully that is the case. But when Mr. Cruz took the case, then people were really pissed, really, really upset because he was an outsider and he's coming up here and he's taken this case. It wasn't said to me, but I'm sure they didn't like the fact that he was a educated, good-looking, attractive, well-spoken black man because clearly they have issues with race. So I can't imagine them loving that. Um, and so that is why there is such a chip on Llama Llama Ding Dong's shoulder, and and it goes back to Mr. Cruz's closing. They didn't expect anyone to fight for him. They didn't expect people to show up, and they didn't. And then you have a very, very well-versed attorney, and now he's representing this man, and they didn't expect that. So now they actually have to work. They thought they were just gonna be able to skirt around all the evidence that they didn't have, and now they're having to provide the evidence that isn't there, and it makes them look bad. So that made a lot of sense to me. Um, much like Karen's case. They didn't like the outsider, it's you're not from here. She was an outsider, she didn't have ties to the community, she wasn't part of the community. It's much easier to pin it on her. Very similar with this situation. They were pissed that, this good attorney came in to represent them. So that kinda made sense to me. Um, yep, that's why Karen got AJ from the other side of the country. Exactly. Exactly, and they didn't like that because they knew he was good. Um, you could tell, "Thank you for going and telling us everything." Absolutely, and it was something I wanted to do. Like, I even told this to someone afterwards, like, I could probably count on one hand the cases I've been super, super passionate about, and this is one of them. Like, I instantly just wanted to be there. Like, not that I'm gonna do anything, but, like, I don't know, I just felt like I wanted to be there and support, like, and so I went. Um, exactly. They didn't think he would have the means to fight back. Yes. That's why I'm wondering, I don't know if there was a GoFundMe, I don't know if Mr. Cruz did it pro bono, but God bless him if he did. I mean, that's the thing, this happens all the time, and people don't have the means to fight back, and thank goodness that this one was a little different, and he had a good lawyer. I don't know how he got Mr. Cruz, but man, is he blessed to have him. So yeah, you're right. This is just plain wrong, simple. Um, sorry, Beta's trying to get my drink. Yes, it is just wrong on a lot of levels. And we can't stand for it. So I'm just I am very happy to see that more people are getting this trial because of Melanie. That's amazing. And then when I mean, it was a long day. It was a long day just, as a spectator watching. The jury looked tired, so it wasn't shocking that they wanted to wait until Monday, to do that. So, um, yeah, I mean, I think all the cupcakes that I was with at least are planning on coming back Monday and being there, to see this through. They are very invested in this as well. Um, and, like I said, friends, family, they're just so kind. "Are you gonna be here Monday?" "No." I'm like, "I'm not, but I'm here with you." Like, I'll be, here with you in spirit. And they know that, like, they have an army behind them with all the cupcakes and Melanie and all that too. As well as there is a good group of people who have supported him from the beginning from Atlanta, that were all there. I met a lady who had been following this case since his original arraignment. Um, so that was awesome to see as well. So that they do have a group of support, but it was the biggest turnout that they had seen in the courtroom to date on Friday, which was great to see, because like I said, it was a packed house, and that made a statement, I'm sure. Sure they never expected that. Um, Mr. Cruz is very, very focused. He will make eye contact when he leaves the courtroom with his couple family members. He's very focused. Um, I did get a chance to meet the attorneys. Mr. Cruz is exactly what you would expect him to be. The most kind, thoughtful, just appreciative, and he knows all about the cupcakes. And all of that. So he said that Adwick very much appreciates the support, as well as him. It was very big, morale booster for him as well. And Mr. Hill is also very, very sweet. Um, so he was very kind, and also he wanted, like, it was very sweet. It was very humble because when I met him and was talking to him, he wanted to introduce me to the law clerk, like, very much like the attorneys for Karen. Like, they gave a lot of recognition to the interns there because, they didn't want them to kinda go unseen. So same thing, he wanted me to meet the law clerk that had been helping for 2 years. Like, these attorneys are wonderful people, and that's it's so funny. People, you know, attorneys get a bad rep, especially defense attorneys, but, like, you have to be a special type of person to be a defense attorney. And cases like this, where the person is actually innocent, are rare. And so it is a defense attorney's dream to represent an innocent person. And when they do get that, they pour their heart and soul over that, because those are the ones that really, make them lose sleep at night. And, you could just tell everything that Mr. Cruz said and did was from his heart. And I think that came out, and hopefully that jury sees it and feels it too. Um, oh, hello. Yes, Karen saying Mr. Cruz got under Llama Llama Ding Dong's skin because he is completely outshined, outperformed, and outlawyered the DA. I agree. I agree 100%. And Karen, I think you were there. Was it Tuesday? I was hoping I would see you, but I wasn't able to get there until the end of the week. Um, if I'm mistaken, let me know. Yeah, absolutely. He's way better of an attorney than him. Um, so yeah, that's another reason that he doesn't like him. There's so many things, but I just couldn't get over, like, the judge literally twisting the law just to be like, "No, that's not the law." But yeah, it is. Like, in any other state, in any other place, that's the law. Like, in this courtroom, it might not be the law, but okay. So it's infuriating, and I think you just have to, like, that's how my mindset was, like, okay, go in, but, like, realize you're not winning any emotions, you're not winning any, like, anything. Like, that judge is gonna rule in favor of the prosecution every single time, so don't even, like, let it bother you, and that's what I had to do because it was ridiculous. Okay, she said, "Didn't make up, but I watched every second." Alright. Um, thank you for being boots on the ground. Of course, there was definitely 3 other cupcakes that were there as well, which was also just really cool. I can't tell you, like, if you have a chance to go to a trial that Melanie's covering, where any other cupcakes are gonna be there, go, because it's cool. It's like you don't know these people, but you kinda do, because like, they get Melanie's sense of humor. They already have a of justice, and so it's kind of already like a bonding thing a little bit before you even meet them. So it's really cool. Like, probably wouldn't go to lunch with someone you met 30 minutes prior. Um, but like, yeah, let's go to lunch. Like, and it was great. So, um, let's see. Mr. Hill looked like he was watching Melanie's chat. Well, you know what? He left. I think he left. When did he leave? He left early. I listen, I wouldn't eh, we've seen attorneys like in the Reed trial watching YouTube presentations, things like that. I wouldn't take it off the table. Melanie knows what she's talking about, so would not. And Mr. Cruz is very well of Marini, well aware of Melanie, so I wouldn't take it off the table there. Um, yes, he did make a good record, and that was, like, so important, and then, like, at one point, he's like, "Well, I just still need to put it on the record," and she's like, "No." Like, are you kidding me? Yeah, absolutely, to this point, he did make a fantastic record. I personally don't feel like he will be convicted. I think if he's not acquitted, it will be a hung jury. It wouldn't surprise me either way. Um, but I don't think that there will be a conviction. But God forbid, yes, there is a fantastic record, and with so many disgusting things that this judge didn't allow and, just used her discretion in such a way that was so biased, I really do feel like it would come back around on appeal very easily. But I don't think we're gonna get that. I think if anything, it would be a hung jury. Um, I know that's not what we want. I do think that it's very possible that they acquit because there just wasn't any evidence. But every juror and what they understand as reasonable doubt can differ. So I hope that they really understand that and the high bar of without, a reasonable doubt. So, but yes, he did. He did everything that he should have done. Let's see. Okay. Yes, he worked circles around them. I don't think he will be convicted either, only if the jury is rigged. Yeah. And that concerns me too. That concerns me too. I didn't I didn't get a bad feeling about the jury. Um they're very stoic. And that's what you want. I mean, that is what you want. It's not maybe like in the moment you want to kind of be able to read some people, but they were stoic. So I don't know if they were spoke to about that. I mean, one juror is very expressive, maybe a little bit too much, but I don't think it was in necessarily at first I thought maybe one way, but then I saw her on both the prosecution and defense and changed my viewpoint on it. She's expressive. Um and that's probably just her. But I think everyone is very zoned in, and so yeah, well, I mean, we'll see. I don't have a bad feeling though, which is great. Um, so yeah, and here, the lucky one saying it only takes one. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, but I just can't see this going, as a guilty. I just can't. There's nothing. I do think I think it will be a long deliberation. Um, and yeah, I'll say that. I think it will be a long deliberation reading the people that I could on that jury. I think they're going to want to talk about it and talk about everything, which is what you want. Again, you want that. You want as much as it would be great for them to come back in 15 minutes, be like, there is no evidence. You want them to go through everything. So I do think that it will be a little lengthier. So did you notice the jurors' faces when Chris was on the stand? I was not there when Chris was on the stand. Now, I would have loved to. I have heard stories because there were other cupcakes there when Chris was on the stand. I will not speak for them because I don't know if they want it out there. But I heard stories. I think I could say this. When anyone is killed in the manner that when she was killed, and anyone is talking about it, like, there's gonna be emotion, and so I think, like, for us, we're all true crime fans. Some of the people in the jury probably aren't. Probably aren't people who put on, like, true crime shows to go to sleep at night. So I think it's maybe extra emotional for some that don't watch it, So I think people are gonna have a level of maybe empathy, and so I don't know that that was for everyone, but, maybe some more than others. I would have loved to have seen that testimony and definitely been watching. I also think it will be interesting to be a fly on the wall to see if, um I just wonder, like, male, female, who is gonna feel for Chris, if any? More so, like, male or female, like, if one is gonna be like, "That guy was full of shit," like, I don't know, I just wonder. Um, I mean, I don't know. I He came off so bad, like, if people didn't think he did it before he took the witness stand, I'm pretty sure, like, he sunk his own ship there, 'cause, whew, it was tough watching that, and, yes, Sue was saying he looked and sounded it. Absolutely. I was driving, doing some work, and I had it on my going through my speakers, and I couldn't see. And then I decided to watch just him, that part again later, and I was like, "Whoa, this is so much better when I can see him." And I was like, because I was laughing at a lot of the things he was saying when I was driving and I couldn't see him. And then watching it when I could see his face, oh my goodness. Like, are you kidding me? No wonder people think you did it. Like, wow. Okay. Um, but you have to remember too, like, not everybody is good at reading people. And some people just buy whatever's told to them. So, like, that's where you want, like, jurors who can think for themselves. And, like, so I just pray that we have some of those on the jury, because that's what you want. So, sorry, my phone's going off. Yeah. Let's see. No idea how many people do that. Yep. Let's see here. Yes. When Chris said, "Just have to hold it together, Lola." I know. And, like, I'm sorry, if I was the judge, I'd be like, "Sir, can you open your eyes?" Like, what was he doing? Like, his eyes are closed for, like, consecutive 10 minutes. Like, are you awake or asleep? I don't know. But at this point, I'm gonna ask for you to wake up. Like, what is happening? Um, let's see here. Yes, damn Suzanne. Yes, they were very engaged. And they were engaged on both sides. I have seen quite a few other juries, like, in trials, and they were easier to read than this jury. This jury was very engaged, not for the most part giving anything away. Like, they were equally engaged, for both sides, which is what you want. I would love to be able to read more into that, but, like, they really were equally engaged on both sides. I will say, rebuttal. So Llama Llama Dina got up there, did like 5-10 minutes, then Mr. Cruz, then he came in, talked again for a second time. There was less notes taken and maybe less engagement-ish on the second time because he really wasn't saying anything new. But they're very engaged on both sides. Like, I could not tell one side or the other side, and, like, that's honestly why I'm very comfortable of saying that. That and I'm not media, so the judge can shove it because I'm not media. I went there as a citizen who used to and grew up in Georgia and was born in Georgia. And so yeah. So yeah, but I didn't. I would love to report more stuff. Like I was really thinking I would have more to report, but they were very, very stone faced. Not giving a lot away. There's one juror that is very expressive. I just think that that's who they are, but they're expressive on both sides. So I can't really take anything from that. Let's see. Two things I observed watching online. Mr. Cruz gave a much cleaner, much better explanation of reasonable doubt. Yes. Mr. Faust's interview with Liz and Jeremy and reaction to charges was shock. Yes, yes, I agree. He's so clean. He is so clean, and he's not all over the place like Llama Llama. And so um he knows what he's saying, and he's saying things to get to the next part of what he's saying, and it flows very well. And then yeah, like and that was something that bugged me was that the DA was trying to be like, "Oh, yeah, he realized he was caught, Mr. Foss. He just said, 'Take me to jail.'" Like, "Sir, what interview were you watching?" Like, that's not how that went. Like, and also, they didn't show him a picture of Tara. How is he gonna know 25 years later what girl they're talking about? He could have seen a lot of things on the news or in the newspaper of things that happen to people. He's not knowing exactly what girl they're talking about. They purposely, and I thought Mr. Cruz did a great job at nailing that home. They purposely did not show him a picture because all they wanted and all they needed was for him to say he didn't know her. And then they had him on charges. And if they were to show him a picture, and God forbid, oh yeah, he might have run into her like at a restaurant, at a bar, even the fact that he supposedly lived there sometimes around her street. I didn't think that made him more guilty. I thought that that made it more possible that maybe they had ran into each other and maybe hooked up. So they didn't want to show him a picture. And it was very done on purpose. And so I thought he did a great job at hammering that home to the jury. I hope that they took something from that and that sunk in. I will say my second to and I posted these on my Twitter, but my second favorite thing that Mr. Cruz brought up on closing was the fact that Liz said one person's DNA is supposed to be there and it wasn't Mr. Faust. And the reason, like this always was bugging me, like, because she's just like, oh, well, it makes sense. No, actually, Liz, it doesn't. And here's why. Because he said they didn't do anal. They never did anal. Tara didn't do anal. So then why is your sperm in her anus? It got there at some point. You want to explain that? It didn't get there from drainage, okay? Because drainage doesn't suck things up. It just doesn't. This crime was a very forcible, uh, violent crime, and it was sexual in nature. And I just thought, like, Mr. Cruz nailed that home, by saying, like, just because they were boyfriend and girlfriend doesn't give him access to her body. She didn't do that. He already said she didn't do that. So why is it there? You don't just have access because that's your girlfriend. She can say no. And the fact that she would say that, you know, question her credibility, and it's true. The fact that she would say that as a woman, especially, like, hmm, I think of you a little different after saying that. So I thought that was just so good. Like I was like, yes. And one of his I don't know who she was. He had the law clerk, he had this paralegal, and then there was another lady. So I'm assuming it was somewhere along those lines that but she worked with him or for him. He came over to see if he had missed anything, and that was something she had pointed out to him. So and I wanted to say something to her after, like, oh, so glad you mentioned that because that to me was a home run. and I didn't get to. She left, and so I never got to speak to her. But that was an absolute home run, and I think that hopefully the jurors felt that as well. Um, let's see, I missed some comments here. Liz needs it. Yeah. Yes, Liz in going on with it. Yeah, she does need a guilty. And it's obvious she was trying to get a guilty no matter what. She didn't investigate. And how dumb was it? Like, all you had to do was corroborate the fact of where Chris and was it Jeremy or whatever his friend's name was? I don't remember his name. All you had to do was corroborate they were there. People saw them there. All you had to do is that. It's really, if that's all you have to do in an investigation, it's really not that hard of an investigation. And they just didn't do it. And had they done that, they would have had way better of a chance to not blame Chris for this crime. Like, had they investigated, and actually, Josh, thank you, Buzzy Cat. Then they would have, you know, again, it goes back to like Canton. Had they just investigated, then you know, they would have been possibly cleared had they not done it, you know? So same thing here, and yeah, it is embarrassing. It is absolutely embarrassing. Like, this was not some kind of riveting science that you needed back then. I realized that things have evolved, but the things that they needed to do just to corroborate either they were at these places or they weren't, none of that's changed. You still talk to people. You still go and you speak to people to corroborate stories. That hasn't changed. So they can't blame like time as this. They just can't. Um yes. Yeah, Josh was credible. He was credible. He didn't seem like he had um you know, a dog in the fight. He looked scared a little bit too, so I don't think he was trying to get on the stand and lie. Um Yes, where were the house keys? Where's the clock? Exactly. Again, I don't know how you lose an entire window, but somehow Athens Clark County managed to lose an entire window. I've never lost I've lost things like smaller things like chopsticks, things like that. How do you lose an entire window? Like, where did it go? I find that very hard to believe. That seems to be a misplaced lost. Same, no one knows anything about the clock. We don't know if it was a digital clock. Was it a what kind of clock? We don't know anything about it. We just kept hearing about the clock. As far as the keys, then Llama Llama Ding Dong wanted to say if the keys weren't there, then Mr. Cruz would have said something. However, they didn't prove anything that the keys were there. And when it was interesting because when Mr. Cruz was up there talking about the keys, I saw Liz looking through what appeared to me as an evidence log. So I still don't know that they knew if those keys were in evidence or not. I don't think they knew if they were down in whatever floor they were saying that they probably were. I don't think she knew anything about this case. I think her job was to get a conviction, period. Didn't matter who. Um, and yeah, let's see. Coco saying, I lost my window once. Oh, wait, I was at the wrong house. Exactly. What are we talking about here? Like, it's insane. Um, okay, so the keys were listed in the evidence log. We just didn't actually put eyes on them or hands on them. Okay. Is this a diverse county? I'm mortified that in 2026 we still blame it on the black guy. It is diverse, I believe now. Um, Back then, I think it was I was watching something on this. I feel like they said it wasn't as diverse back then, or maybe vice versa. But I mean, I don't know. I really just don't know. I know that there yeah, I'm not even gonna say it. Like, this case, there's so much wrong with this case. So much wrong with this case. And I don't know how a black man walking somehow equates to murder or red rum and sexual assault. Like, how do we get from there to there without any steps of which he entered that house. And that's why I just think the jury is gonna have a hard time, like, even the burglary, how are you proving that? Like, her body moves, like, her body is not affixed to that house. She was free to come and go from the house. They could have had contact if it was a consensual thing anywhere. It so how are you going to say that he burglarized the home just because her body was I mean, like, there's no evidence. No one saw him breaking into the house. There is not fingerprints. There is nothing putting him in that home. I just don't see how they get around it, and I think with 12 people, someone will bring out that fact in the jury room. Let's see. The prison system in Georgia is one of the most corrupt. Yeah, I don't doubt it. Um, Lauren, can you talk about the makeup of the jury? Sure. Um, there I didn't write down exacts. I know that there was 4 African American jurors, 2 of which were alternates. They were previously chosen, which makes me feel better. Um, they were previously chosen before the trial was ended. So in Georgia, they pick them before, and I like that a lot better than Massachusetts' way of just allegedly drawing balls or whatever after. So that made me feel better about that, but 2 of the African American people are the alternates, so they're off. He still has 2 African American, 1 lady and 1 man, on the jury. There is maybe 2 older people on the jury, um, maybe in their w the man is older, I would say early 70s. Um, Maybe a woman in her 60s, another woman in her 60s, and a man maybe in his 50s. The rest are young, like, I would say 2 in late 20s or early 30s, and the rest, I would say, in 30s and 40s. So it is a relatively young jury, which I always like to see. Um, but that's pretty much let's see. There's more men, I didn't write down exact, but there's more men than females. Um, did they lose? Yeah, more men than female. Um, let's see. I live in Lee County, Florida. Our sheriff is awful. Jail has 60 in each pod, 50. Wow. Yeah, it's scary, and unfortunately, it is far too common in everywhere. Like, I know we focus a lot on Massachusetts after the Karen Reed trial, but the fact of the matter is it's everywhere. And it is scary. It really is scary because these things can happen to anyone. Yep. Did Melanie mention it too? Yep. The jury is younger. Yeah, I like that. They all seem to also this I know can play a part. They all seem to get along. They all seem to like each other. Um, there's quite a few that seem very in sync with each other. Which you want. You don't want the jury already disliking each other. They're more likely to come to like work together better. I've seen a lot of jurors. I've weighed in on jury um expressions before, things like that that we're allowed to do per the Constitution. Um and I've been on like court TV talking about things like that. So when a jury is in sync and they seem to like each other, that is really good for getting to a decision. So I think ultimately that will help them reach a verdict. So that's what you like to see. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, this is it's crazy. I mean, the way that this whole case went down is nuts. Um, but I know all of you guys will be watching on Monday. I would be shocked if there is a quick verdict, like, absolutely floored. I think it's gonna take them a little bit. Um, and, they haven't been able to talk about it, so I'm sure they're gonna wanna talk about it and share their opinions. I know, like, us, we all have opinions on this case, so, like, they're probably gonna wanna talk about it with each other, um, as well. So yeah, I don't know when we're gonna get a verdict, but hopefully it's the right one, and, I just think, like, yes, it will be wonderful for Mr. Faust, but it will be also wonderful for Mr. Cruz. I also know he is fighting his, contempt of court that the Honorable Lisa Lott, uh, bestowed upon him. He is fighting that. Thankfully, that is a good thing, because that is the most BS thing I've ever seen in my life. So yeah, prayers prayers for Mr. Cruz and his fight for that as well. Um, it's just disgusting that was going on when you have someone just trying to defend their client and someone trying to use the Constitution and their power against you. Yeah, it's gross. Um, let's see here. Yep, they should be good and energized. Yeah, and I mean, like, I know, like, there wasn't a whole lot of time, like, a lot of that time was, like, Friday was a big lunch break, but that's still a long day, and for them to, go in there and pick a 4 person, they did a good step towards that, doing something, and then they came back and are ready to do it Monday, so that's fine. That's great. Let's see. Yeah. So Cruz tried to get a new judge due to all the bias on the lot. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. Like, I don't know how many people were here from the Kelsey stream earlier with Maza. When a judge, so like judges recuse themselves every day. Like, it is not, there is some sort of appearance of bias. Like, a judge like recuses themselves. It's usually not a big deal. If there's not a vested interest in it, okay. Like, for the record, there's absolutely nothing there. Couldn't be further from the truth, but if that's how it appears, I will step down, recuse myself. The ones that fight it, like, why are you fighting it? Like, and so for him to have put in the motion to recuse her and she refused, like, again, why? Like, what is in it for you? Like, why are you invested in this already? Like, why? And, yeah, so she wouldn't recuse herself, and here we are, and then we see every single one of her rulings is against the defense. Um, okay, so Blessed Texas also thinks that Lisa Lott thinks she's too good for wear the robe. I personally am glad she doesn't wear the robe because in my opinion, she doesn't deserve to wear a robe. I mean, like, I had every intention of asking the bailiff. I'm just curious, like, why doesn't, Judge Lot wear a robe? I really, really wanted to know. Um, and I totally got off track by talking to people and didn't remember to do so. So I'm kind of irritated at myself for that. But I'm sure that there's a story behind it and I wanted to know. Um, let's see here. What is this? Some other people pointed out about Foss's body language being open. That's a good point. Yes, and I did notice when during closings, I know sometimes he had a tendency to put his hand on his face. I think during closings, for the most part, had his hand off of his face, which is good. I like to see that. I wouldn't want to see blocking his face. Like, I think that does appear very open, like you're not trying to hide something from the jury. And so I specifically not like noticed that in my mind that he was very open when, especially with closings and stuff. Um, yeah, absolutely. I mean, she could definitely be a control freak. I think that is absolutely point, very apparent with the way she runs her courtroom. Regardless if that has anything to do with the robe, absolutely, I think you're right on that. Um, Bikram saying she's the chief judge too, so she made sure to tell us all. Um, and then SS Cupcakes talking about Kelsey. I sort of Kelsey's case. I saw something saying the judge was keeping herself on the case prior to latest motion. Yeah, they also Bradel asked her to recuse herself as well. I think he did it through the SJC though, and the SJC didn't find it was necessary. So she kind of got around it from the SJC not requiring it is my understanding of that. But yeah, I mean, even if he would have if there wasn't all this misconduct, no way she would have stepped down. She has a dog in this fight, and we don't know exactly what it is, but, like, I mean, common sense tells you what it is. Like, why are you doing all this stuff? Why are you invested? Why are you going to do, like, your own investigation? She's making herself and that's something I didn't even point out in Maz's stream today. She is making herself a fact witness in Kelsey's case by going to investigate and going to January's office to do her own investigation. She is in like implementing herself as a fact witness in this case. That's a problem. Um so yeah, like it's just so that judge like I just am so I'm so disheartened because honestly like the judges in the last few years, I mean like there's some wonderful judges. Like I can't even remember what his name is now because it's overshadowed by all these horrible people. But Judge Gull, Bev, which I never thought I'd see the day when I would choose Bev over a couple people. But Bev, Lisa Lott, it's really disheartening to see this many and especially women just not showing like any empathy. Like that's supposed to be like one of our really good qualities like empathy, like caring. We're loving people for the most part. No, no, not these judges. Yes, Judge Frenier was good. She was very good. She was beautiful too. Like that was another side point, but like she was very good. But there, it's just it's a lot. I think we've all seen a lot of corruption lately, and I think we're all due a couple good judges and a couple good. We got our good attorney with Mr. Cruz, but I think we're due a few good, loving, kind, fair judges. Like we got that coming our way. Like we're manifesting that for the next little bit here for some trials. Um, the Adelson judge, yes, he did seem fair. Let's see. Um, okay. Let's see. Karen says that she has beef with her because of that ruling let out the funds. Yeah, yeah, for sure. And Mama Claire saying she would definitely choose Bez over Gull and Lot. I would too. Never thought I would say that, but I absolutely would. My heart hurts so bad for Kelsey and that sweet baby. They need each other so bad. They do. And that is it is a crime on so many levels, and to find out that that judge inserted herself into that family court trial stuff, that is so far out of her lane. Um, and she is now directly affecting Kelsey having time with her baby. And this is not even what she was supposed to be overseeing. I think there will be repercussions from that. I pray that there are repercussions from that. And I hope that any of the people in that county demand answers for what really happened. And this isn't just swept under the rug because she won't be overseeing Kelsey's trial. We need answers. It's so wrong, and she has missed a year of Caden's life. Caden will be 1 tomorrow, and Justin has a lot of karma coming his way. He might think he pulled a fast one, but joke's on you, buddy. So, your son's gonna know what a piece of shit you are for the rest of his life when he gets old enough. That's on you. So yeah, Kelsey needs to be back with the baby, and there are far better memories that are gonna come than she's lost. But but she should have never lost any time with this sweet angel. It's disgusting. Um, help help Kelsey in any way that you can. If you can donate. If you can share a post on Twitter. I don't know how many of you are on Twitter. I know quite a few of you are. I've seen your names and know who you are, but tell your coworker, tell anybody. This case is ridiculous, and we need to try to get it out to as many people as possible. But she has an army behind her, and it means a lot. So let's see. Yes, Gina bringing up the judge in the Aaron Spencer case was so bad. Yeah, absolutely. I totally forgot about that one. That judge, don't even remember her name, but that one, just add her on the list. Like, I'm telling you, we are so ready for some good judges. It is insane. Thank God she's gone. Yes, Justin and his parents are both pieces of shit and should be ashamed. I concur. I agree, and I'm ready for the trial to listen. Things are going to come out that it's going to make a lot of things clear, whether it's in this trial, whether it's in hearings for the baby, for the family court things. Yes, Elmore. Ugh, Elmore. This lovely lady. Yes. And you can fool some people some of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time. And that is what's about to happen. Things are about to be shed and put into light, even with the information that we just received from Bradle's recusal of Kathleen. We learned insight into just the sneaky stuff she was doing that is against the rules and the law of a judge. So, things are coming. Karen, I fully believe Kelsey definitely needs to sue all them. She's gonna have a couple of civil suits that are gonna look pretty good after all this is said and done, in my opinion. Um, Judge Page from the YSL case is amazing. I didn't watch that. That was a lot of people were talking about that in the courtroom because Mr. Hill, obviously was on the YSL case. I didn't watch it. It was so long, and I think I couldn't. It didn't keep my attention. I'm either passionate about something or I'm not. Like, I can't fake it. But I've heard the judge was very good, and I also heard the case was good. It didn't keep my attention for whatever reason. Um, let's see. Yep, they need to be exposed, their local communities, so they can do something about it. Absolutely, and that's the thing. I mean, if we live in these areas, speak up. Like, we're allowed by the law, by the Constitution for a reason. They work for us, so they need to be held accountable, and people need answers to the question as to why a sitting judge on a case would be going to a parole officer's office to demand emails and demand if Kelsey is broken terms of her probation. That is not, you can't explain that away. Whatever she says is not going to suffice. Like, at any rate, you can't do it. But then she didn't disclose it and say that it happened to either side. And then in a way, she lied to the SJC because the SJC didn't have that information when all of this was submitted to them. How much more serious can you get? This woman has no right to be on a bench. And I just hate it because there are such I'm trying to think because there's such wonderful judges, and there's one that I have a picture in my head. He is this African American man. He's like older. Like, I love this man so much. I can't remember what trial he was on, but you just want to hug him. Like, I want him to be my grandfather. Like, he just seems like the kindest, nicest person. And like, there's so many wonderful judges, but like, then you have these people who just, that is, what a disservice to the community that these people are. That's gonna bug me. I want to say, was the judge on the Murdoch case, was he an older black man? I can't remember what trial. It was a big trial that he presided over, and I just fell in love with him. Like, the most let's see, Judge Simpson, Judge Manning. I don't know. I'm terrible with names, by the way. Okay, B Crumb saying he was. Maybe that is maybe it was that. I don't know, but if he was an older black man, I love that man. He like I just want to hug him. I want to give him a big hug and I want to say adopt me as your grandchild because he was awesome. Okay, so maybe that was it. Have I seen Judge Boyd from Texas? No. No, but I apparently need to because I love a good judge. And you know what's funny is that a good judge, their courtroom is never a circus. Like, it just isn't. They have the right amount of, like, okay, we're here to do our job, we're here to do our business. I'm not going to take lip, but I am going to let you do your jobs and argue stuff. And it's just their courtrooms run smooth. You never have, like, you're never starting like 3 hours early. You're never having to like argue things and have the jury back in the jury box for hours because you weren't prepared, because you didn't want to come in early and do things. Like, their whole way about the trial runs smooth when you have a good judge. And then you see the opposite, like people like Bev and I can't even remember the other trial that like they were constantly having to send the jury out of the room because she didn't want to come in early. Maybe that was Bev. I don't know. They're all running together. But like people, yes, Judge Newman. That's him. Yes. I love me some Judge Newman. Oh, love that man. Yes, a doll. If you haven't seen Judge Newman, go look him up. He's fantastic and you're gonna want to give him a hug. Okay. He's lovely. Um, but the whole everything will run smoothly and you can see it, like everything. If they know what they're doing and they're running their courtroom, like it just runs smoothly. And yeah, the Judge Lott treated the jury like crap. I mean, I wonder what the jury's thinking, because it's probably their first experience with a judge. I don't know if they think that that's normal or not. I think you're right, Jamie. I think he did retire. But man, what a treat he is. I loved him. Yeah, damn Suzanne saying a good judge validates your faith in the system. Exactly. And just like a good lawyer does that. And I say, we got to see that with Mr. Cruz. I think there are big, big things coming his way. And he's still a young guy. He's gonna soar. And I can't wait. And I hope that we get to watch it. I hope a lot of his trials are live streamed so we can support him. Because I know he has a fan in a lot of us now. So hopefully we get to kind of follow his career. I'd love to see Mr. Hill in another trial since I didn't watch the YSL one. Let's see. Will he be trying the case if a retrial is granted? I don't know. That depends on like whatever arrangement they have too. So I think it's a little too early. He probably doesn't know that yet. And hopefully, knock on wood, we don't need a retrial. Let's see. Oh, if any of them want to talk, Mel can interview them. He can message them. Yep. He told me when all this is over, he's going to be checking out Mel's channel for himself. He also told me that his wife is now a cupcake. And I said, welcome to the club. Send her our love. So to Mrs. Faust, we're so happy to have you. I already told Mel too, so she's aware, but I'm sure that there will be an interview in the midst. If I was a betting gal, I would bet that when all this is over, there will probably be a interview. Yes, Mr. Cruz going so far. Yes. Also, he mentioned that he had a lot of murder trials. So now I am interested in going back and seeing if any of them were high profile ones that we can watch. So if any of you want to do the same thing, feel free to let me know if you find any out or if you get to it before I do. Because certainly any trial that he is covering, I would love to see. I am very impressed. He has a fan in me for sure. Okay. There's a case in Georgia, Holly Bobo. You need to watch the corruption. Yes. So I didn't know anything about this case. I remember the name. I was obviously younger when this case happened. and I don't believe I was into trials yet, or I just didn't know about it. But I have heard that this trial is crazy and that, I think Defense Diaries, Misdemeanor, a couple other people were talking about it, and the guy that they're trying is possibly not the right one, is that right? So I definitely would like to get caught up on that. Is that a trial that will be happening soon? Tell me, because I would like to get caught up because I don't know much about that case, just the name. Okay, Defense Diary is definitely covering that. Okay, thought so. Um, let's see. Zach something. Yes, that does sound familiar. Zach something. Zach Adams. Okay, okay. Does that trial start soon? Is it going? Tell me all the things. Lots of podcasts covering it on the true crime genre. Um, okay, so lots of fans of the Holly Bobo case. I'm definitely gonna need to get caught up on that one. Does anyone know when that starts? I think I want to say I saw like maybe one episode of Defense Diaries about it. It was some guy. She thought, I guess, the brother was inside, and he thought she was arguing with a boyfriend, and then she got dragged in the woods or something. Is that the same? And then like the cops didn't go look when they got there for some reason. They didn't go search for her or something. I feel like that was one of the episodes I saw something about on Defense Diaries. Um, yeah, Jamie, look, Aaron Spencer, I'm all in. I wish I owned a house out there so I could vote for him for sheriff. That is one of the cases I am very passionate about. The man deserves a medal, not incarceration. So happy that Elmore is gone. I just hope that the next judge that they bring in, I forget his name, will be fair. And I hope he'll allow cameras. I think this is such an important case for the public to see, because hopefully it will serve to warn people like against grooming and how it starts. I know that Bob and Allie have talked a lot about that. I think um, grooming starts in such a small way where you might not notice it. A lot of people aren't tuned into that, and so it can happen, and it did happen. And it's an important case for the public to see. Okay, Cat Not Williams has dived into the Bobo case. Okay, okay, I'm gonna need to check that out. And then, yes, Bob and Allie are gonna be out there. I cannot wait to see their coverage. When is anyone know when that one is starting? I know it's a delay since there's the new judge, but I cannot wait to see their coverage. They're fantastic people anyways. I know Bob from Court TV and think very, very highly of him. And I'm excited to see them on the ground for that and him be the eyes and the ears for this. Okay, so it hasn't been announced yet. Okay, that makes sense. Well, I think that one is definitely that needs to be broadcast everywhere. I can't even imagine, like, I can't even imagine. Um, I, yeah, that poor dad and his poor daughter, then to be charged with something. I hope he wins the sheriff race. That is all I can say. Sometime in March. Okay, so that's coming up. That's okay. That's great. So we'll have Kelsey in March potentially, and potentially Spencer. So that's gonna be great. Okay, Trial and Error season 1 podcast is about Zach Adams. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna need to catch up on that one, especially if there's gonna be a trial and this man is potentially innocent. Yes, we need cameras in there. Yes, I read somewhere that the new judge has allowed cameras in the past on some of his other cases. So I'm hoping that that will be the case, and he will allow here, especially with just the type of case that it is. I think it would be so beneficial and educational for the public. Just um, anyone needs to know that information, and I feel like the way that that man, that monster, I'm not even going to say his name, uh, went about grooming that child is very important knowledge that the public should be aware of. Um, B crumbs, I could not agree more. We need cameras in every court. Absolutely agree. Um, we do. And again, if we didn't have cameras, we wouldn't none of us would know about the Foss case. So that's you know, she proves my point here. Um, well, I think that that is all of the information that I have for you guys for the Foss thing, but I just wanted to hop on and share it because I know a lot of you watch Melanie like I do, and we all feel very strongly about this case, and we'll all be kind of watching on bated breath on Monday, Tuesday, however long it takes for a verdict, and we'll all be right there with him in spirit. So, um, thank you for popping on. I know this was last minute. My thumbnail was like I forgot like when I got on here to schedule it, I was like, "Oh crap, I need to make a thumbnail." And I'm like, "Ah." So I literally just threw that one up there. So anyways, I'm so happy to see any of you on here after that not exciting thumbnail. It's probably like the most boring thumbnail anyone could ever make. So but anyways, thank you so much for popping on here. Hopefully we'll have more little lives like this. I know I'll be doing another fundraiser for Kelsey. I got to figure out when that will take place. And hopefully I can kind of put that up there in the next few days. And yeah, so thank you guys so much. And let's see. Oh, yep. Okay. I think Rat House is live and TV is tonight. Oh, that's right. Thank you for reminding me that TV is tonight. Last night I was like, "Oh, I gotta watch." And then I was like, "Wait, it's not on." And then I totally forgot it's tonight. But now I have something to be excited about while I do laundry. So thank you for that. You are so welcome. And yes, absolutely. You don't have to thank me. Like, that's what I like. I just told him, like, it seemed like the right thing to do. Like, I was in driving distance and I would be damned if I'm not coming up there to support in some way. Whatever. That it made me feel better at least. Um, so yes, prayers out for the right verdict and for discernment and knowledge for the jury as they make that decision. And yes, so I am sure I will see you guys all in the chat for Melanie when she is covering this, and we can hopefully celebrate together in the chat. So have a great night. I'll see you guys at Turtle Boy's house later. So thanks guys. Love you all, and we'll talk soon.